Victoria Alonso is bad for Marvel, and we've been saying this since she talked about X-Men and how the name was outdated and that she wanted it changed to something without men to promote inclusivity. But of course, it looks like she got her way because it seems as though they're dropping the X-Men name for the mutants. I have a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So I initially found out about the situation on Twitter because this tweet blew up a bit, but I wanted to start off with this Bounding into Comics article. It says the Mutants reported as title for MCU debut of the X-Men following Marvel Studio head of production Victoria Alonso's accusation that the team's name was outdated. I remember when she initially said she thought the name wasn't inclusive enough and how she was playing around with new name ideas in the back of her head, but it didn't sound like it was that serious. Like maybe she said it to test the waters and gauge reactions, yet to hear all about the mutants and how it's been seemingly confirmed the X-Men reboot will now be called the Mutants is mind-blowing, seeing them go this far to sound as inclusive as possible. So following the introduction of the shared universe's first official Homo Superior in the first season finale of Ms. Marvel's Disney Plus series, a new report has suggested that the upcoming MCU debut of both mutant kind and the X-Men will bear the title of the Mutants, an interesting choice in light of franchise executive producer Victoria Alonso's belief that the classic super team's name is outdated. It says that the film's upcoming title was first proposed by Deadline as part of the site's preview of the various pop culture offerings set to make an appearance at this year's San Diego Comic-Con. Opening their coverage with details of what news fans and attendees could expect from Marvel at the event, the trade news outlet wrote that while some sources believe Marvel is saving it all up for Disney's fan convention D23 during the second weekend of September, specifically in regards to new projects, there was still stuff we haven't seen, specifically the Fantastic Four reboot, The Blade, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Marvels, and The Mutants. It says, as pointed out by many in the wake of this possible reveal, despite the entire franchise revolving around the many incarnations of offshoots in arguably Marvel's most popular franchise, the film's title bears no mention of the X-Men. To me, it is very worrying to see Marvel go in this direction, for them to try to erase the name X-Men for something that they deem as more inclusive and, it's not as outdated. Curiously, this name change comes just 2 years after Victoria Alonso had done this interview talking about how it's funny that people call it the X-Men. There's a lot of female superheroes in that X-Men group, so I think it's outdated. And then, of course, her interview went public right around the same time that 20th Century Fox released a preview clip for Dark Phoenix featuring Jennifer Lawrence's now infamous X-Women line. I just can't believe that they would do this. We're talking about the X-Men here, one of the most well-known groups of heroes ever written, a series that made over $6 billion with 13 films, never mind all of the money they've made from comic books. And when you openly admit you're getting rid of a name for such an iconic team, you're going to face massive backlash, and they deserve to. This is an article from CBR. It says Marvel's rumored X-Men movie title ignites MCU fan uproar. It's no surprise to see why. It says the response arrives in the wake of a Deadline article about what to expect from film studios and television networks at the San Diego Comic-Con. The website noted that while looks at Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and She-Hulk are probably a lock for Saturday's Hall H presentation, there's a lengthy list of projects waiting in the wings. And of course, a lot of people were very worried about this, saying, please know the Mutants is a stupid title, just call them the X-Men like everyone knows them as. It's not sexist. I think of X-Men as like human, just state that in the movie. Of course, people saying things like, what is this, the Mutants? Is it New Mutants? Didn't this movie bomb already? And if you go to the tweet that blew up talking about Deadline, confirming that the X-Men reboot movie title will be called The Mutants, a lot of people are voicing their concerns, voicing how upset they are. Of course, Marvel doesn't want anyone to be upset. They want people to basically just shut up, consume product, and deal with the decisions that they've made. But this isn't going to be a very quiet situation for them. I know they'd love to be able to change whatever they want, for people to not say anything about it, but people are furious, and people are going to stay furious. There are people who are pointing out, of course, X-Men doesn't just mean the males. It's a double meaning. This is so stupid. Probably because Victoria said the name X-Men is outdated. Could be wrong, though. People are commenting things like, well, this just looks like shit. Hate to see what they actually do to them, which will probably be even worse. A lot of people are also asking if this is going to be a New Mutants movie, and the New Mutants was just such a bad film. It was awful. Of course, you know, I'm not saying that they can't do something else with those actors who play those characters, but unfortunately, that first film wasn't what a lot of people wanted, wasn't what a lot of people expected, and it did fail. There are definitely quite a few people here who are saying we should give it a chance, you know, we shouldn't judge it right away, and typically I'd agree. I'd want to see a plot, I'd want to see casting, I'd want to see some kind of information before I fully judge a project like this, but I don't really trust Marvel anymore. I do not trust Victoria Alonso. I don't trust any product that they put out anymore. I have no faith in them to do good by the characters that they have, that they're able to utilize, the stories. I just don't know what the next great Marvel project is going to be, and I don't have a reason to blindly trust them with movies like this anymore. Somebody said, I take it back, I'm fine with reboots just adding the to an old title. The X-Men sounds pretty good right now. It is a shame to see Marvel go in this direction and make such drastic changes, especially only 2 years after Victoria said it's an outdated name. It's not as inclusive as we want it to be, so we can clearly see why they've decided to not go with the name X-Men anymore. But let everyone know your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.